got an approved
Yeah.
specimen trees in
Okay,
the
so
house
is it
coming
on?
down
Yeah.
the front.
Even if it ties
So
down.
we went with them
Yes.
to discuss all that, and all the boards can all come together, they need to see a new drawing,
Yeah.
new, figuring everything out. So our engineers going back to the office today to try to draw up all the things they're looking for, to try to get an approval on it. So, I know our due diligence is up tomorrow, and I'm just calling to see if we can get a little more time.
But they're at Keller Williams.
Mhm. Mhm. Right, right. I mean, we just said to, the engineer said, you know, we need 30 days because there's just too many hoops to go through
Right.
still, so, that's kinda where we are. And honestly, I mean, I gotta be honest with you too, I'm just not sure it's gonna work though. But then, I don't know what your sellers are gonna be able to do, or if they can find somebody that wants to pay that kind of money for just a single home on it, right? So, we do, okay.
So what's the problem? What's the community?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you would have to change marks.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a lot of money into it, a lot more than I thought we were gonna have actually, but,
Which mark is it?
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, my husband, you know, I didn't go to the meeting this morning, he and the engineer did, and, he just called me on the way out and just said, you know, think we can make it work, I don't wanna be Debbie Downer, I'm not sure we can make it work. You know. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, right, so, that's where we're at, he asked me to see if he could give us 30 days. I know your folks didn't like that originally, but. Mhm, mhm, right. Yeah. Which would have obviously moved the closing date back, cause we were May 5th on that.
That might work.
I guess go May 30th, or I don't have a calendar. Let's see what day of the week it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't make me
Yeah.
jump into the ship and I don't know what I'm jumping into. Like, let's
I mean, once we
let's
get,
date each
you know,
other.
the approval we're looking for, we're ready to close
Let's
tomorrow.
date each other
It's not really an issue for us at all.
See if we wanna get married.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Cause
Mhm.
this happened to me twice now.
Right.
Somebody's not in our market center, but like 3 firms have called and asked me to come work there. Since
Yeah,
I've
cause
been
it's
here.
Monday, Memorial Day? Yeah, it is,
Oh,
okay,
right.
yeah, so.
But yep, them.
Well, why don't I just, if
it's
I could
group called
prepare
Real
something that
Estate
says
Gurus.
May 15th, due diligence, May
Coldwell
30th,
Banker.
closing on or before May
Yeah.
31st.
Village Realtor.
Whatever, we might close the 19th or
Coldwell
something,
Banker.
right, so,
I took 3 interviews. Obviously I didn't go anywhere.
okay, okay.
Nothing. I didn't. It was like because I went in there and the whole time it was like, well, I'm gonna just take the interview, see what happens. And the whole time I'm sitting there. Well, the first 2 they're mom
Yeah.
and pop shops.
So is your backup
They
though, is
got,
that for just a single family?
50 agents. It's like
Ah,
their office is like their broker, their account person, and all that stuff. They're all in the same like 300 square foot office. Like that's Village Realty. That's the one that's in Bucket. Real Estate Gurus. This guy is a young guy. He's like, all right. He was the one that I was most interested in. He's a young guy. He's like my age, like 33. He's an investor, and he opened a brokerage, and he's teaching his agents how to be investors. That was the
Right.
main reason I took that interview.
I'm
What do I
trying
need
to
to do?
go the route of, there's
what am I
just
going?
4 or 5 houses on some property, no curbing, no, keep it, floorboard fencing and all, so I felt like it was gonna be a really slam dunk, and at the beginning, they were all excited about it, and now they've changed all their
Take
rules.
this,
Now you've gotta have a 1 acre
presentation
detention
workshop.
pond set aside solely just for that. So anyway, today, we talked to him about how about we just septic, do a water drain septic system, which is still, it's like, oh gosh, $3,000 or $4,000 coming from each house to one general tank,
I won't be your coach anymore. She will. I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that.
Naturally flows the way it does, there's a natural spot for it now, but, they're just taking all that away from us, so they don't care.
Yeah, because they're the same.
Mhm.
Because basically they're on the same level. Because we're both like, cause I'm in a large program. Cause I didn't do 16 last year.
No.
I just did volume last year. I didn't do that. I'm not a transaction.
No, that, cause
So,
actually in the very, very beginning, they were like,
with
well,
that,
this is
I was like, so if I go to
not a
Florida, I'll go
minor
to you.
plat
She was like,
anymore,
no.
because they sold
She
off the
takes
2
people from
acres
me.
already.
I was like, I don't know.
So they've already split their property once,
I don't know all that.
and I was like, yeah, whatever, but, Yeah, and me too, and honestly though, as somebody that would own 6
thing is
acres,
that,
why, I can't
I've
sell off an
already
acre
got
here and an acre there, why not,
So,
that's my property, so we even approached them with, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll buy, Christina Reinfeldt will buy 3 acres, and the MC Properties will buy 3 acres, you got 2 different owners now. They're like, ma'am, you cannot do that, they told me that like 30 days ago, or 45 days ago, cause that's what I
I
was
set
gonna
up
do
a meeting
originally.
with her though.
I thought, well, I'll just get right around that,
Yeah, I
so
set
they
up.
won't let you do that, so. I know. I mean, I get it if
How
you've
much
got
is the,
30-acre parcel and you are a builder developer, I mean, I kinda get it. I'm just talking about putting up a home for my son and some other people so we can make some money on it, like, that's it.
You sell up to those
Simple.
What?
Don't make this so
What are they talking about
complicated.
giving you? Maybe like 60, even if it's stack, it's good money.
And the trees, do you think we'd wanna get rid of those beautiful trees? Of course not. Do we wanna take down the house? Yes, we do. Are we gonna disturb the land there? Yeah, probably so. We might lose a tree, but it's not our goal. As a homeowner, I want trees covering me and hiding me somewhat, right? I mean, anyway, we've done all that, and we've approached it with the no
But I
big
don't-
deal, and then today
but I
we
don't know
approached it
about
with the,
that. Like,
okay, here's the
you have to ask
container,
them, like, when
here's
you
the
join the
product,
team,
here's what we're doing.
how does you finding your own
Go back
business work?
a little bit to the drawing table. I mean, we love the land, we'd like to make it work, but honestly, we can't make it work. Okay.
You got some.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that's attractive. I'm not gonna lie about
I
that.
totally agree with
But
you.
that's,
Yeah.
it depends on where that market center is too, though. Like, which one are they at?
Yeah, I understand, and I agree, and I would definitely do that. I already felt bad having to call to ask for more, but we'd like to try to make it work, so that's awesome. All right, well, I'll prepare an amendment and send it over your way, and,
Yeah.
or should I just wait till
Like
you
next
talk
year
to
at
them,
the-
or what do you think? Do you need to have it?
Awards ceremony,
Okay.
is it gonna be me that gets my 10 million, or is it you that gets my 10 million, stuff like that.
Right. Right, okay. Okay, awesome. And is that still, I know you had mentioned David Lees was interested in it, is that what that is still, your backup? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right, well. Perfect. All right, well, thank you much, Ray, and, we'll chat with you soon. I'll get it over as soon as I can. All right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am. See ya. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. That's 10 days
Hey, Donna, it's Christina Reisel. Hey, I'm calling you about the, property on Freemanville. We have a meeting with the city of Milton that kind of put a little thorn in our side, so we gotta get through that first. And so I don't know if we should continue moving forward with the appraisals, or if we should wait and regroup when we're sure we're gonna do this. I'm moving closing back to May 31st at this point. And, the other thing was, we may decide next week or whatever this is, we're gonna go find something else. I'm not sure if we should go ahead and do our home. You know how long that home appraisal is
Right.
good for, it's like, 2 months, 6 months, whatever. So we may wanna wait on all the advice, but we're just doing better.
Well, good day. I'm doing well. Yourself?
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself? Good.
You also.
All right. No, no. Are you?
No,
You decided to?
No, I was about to wait the fifth baby, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not.
And then, you know, Steve.
He said he's sitting next to you.
Yeah, Steve, he had.
Yeah, he's coming, I saw him.
It's good. And that says the local zone. Well, I guess it's not cold like ice, but it's not hot. I'll finish it. Steve, oh, this?
Yes, he wants to do Scott.
Must be Scott.
His name's Scott.
Mary and Richard.
How you doing? Marcus.
They have this interview now, right?
This, I don't know.
The listing presentation. I
Um,
think it's the
Really?
That's great. See, have a live contract till 11 o'clock and another live contract till 4:30.
Wow. Where'd you pick?
Pardon?
Where'd you pick them up?
Yeah, I was in here yesterday.
Method region,
Hate when they do that.
I guess, through a
You looking
certain.
at
Calling
injuries?
referral or? Yeah, combinations of referrals and certain prospects.
Huh.
And then,
Yeah.
put one under contract Saturday. And I think one Sunday. No, a contract Sunday, 2 listings Sunday, 1 listing Saturday, and 1 for. And I was supposed to take a listing yesterday, but, didn't put it on. It's family health issues. I've got, the one that's signing this morning is a new Keller Williams home in, Cover.
Okay.
The one that's happening new is a new.
There it is, it's right here.
That has to be
It
there.
does, I know.
Every day.
That's
Like
new
my
construction.
little, yeah, new construction seminar, I did, whether I requires a new construction,
There we go.
everywhere.
Got it. Okay.
So, they're also.
So I'm on my own for now?
You are.
All right.
Negotiations over the phone and carry on.
Okay, guys.
I was walking by and I give you my opinion of what.
How is everybody today? I don't want you
Awesome.
guys are casual. I do admit, when I go into a listing presentation, actually I dress like this pretty much every day. So I think if you see me, around, but when I go in the listing presentation, I'm usually pretty well dressed.
Apologize if I have to leave earlier.
That's fine. Okay. So, my name is Scott Einfeldt. I have been, let's see, with Keller Williams. Actually, I've been selling real estate about 20 months. So, last year, 2016, was my first full year in real estate. My fiscal year starts in August. So, so last year was my first full year. Last year, I had, 16 transactions, $7 million in revenue. So I feel very blessed, to say the least. I mean, certainly people have done more than that. My goal was to be Rookie of the Year. I didn't make Rookie of the Year. I was sort of bummed. I was hoping to be a 60-year-old Rookie of the Year, but that didn't work out. So, but I still had a good year. My goals for this year are 36 transactions and a little over $16 million, and I'm tracking towards that success. So, I've had five closings. I have 6 under contract already, and have a really pretty decent pipeline. So, who's been doing this for less than 2 years? Wow, just about. Not almost everybody, right? So, if I can do it, you guys can do it. It takes a lot of hard work. Has anybody owned a business before? Okay. What line? What did you do?
E-commerce.
E-commerce?
Yeah,
Okay.
power seller on eBay and Amazon.
It's all digital?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go about acquiring customers? Just
Through
digital
yeah,
as well?
through
on the internet?
marketplaces online, yeah.
Yeah.
When the recession hit, everybody quit spending money. Got a job.
Oh, yeah. Had to get in the real world, as they say, right? So, this is my first, B2C, business to consumer, business that I've ever been in, other than probably when I was, 12 or 13 years old, delivering and selling newspapers. My entire background really professionally has been, B2B, selling. I had a biomedical company, started out selling biomedical, started a biomedical company, and then I went into, something entirely different, telecom software. So I do have sales and marketing, background. Both, I sold door to door through college. So, I started out in pharmaceuticals. So you just went in and knocked on. You just went in, doctors out. You didn't even knock. You just went in. So it really is good to be able to just, just go out there and put yourself out there. Now, I'm not a real high I. I actually feel more comfortable speaking in front of 1,000 people than I do maybe in a group of 3 or 4, something like that. So I'm a high B and a high C. You'll probably see some of that, here. But when it comes one-on-one, I think I relate very well, and that's helpful. So the presentation that I'm going to do, and I'm going to ask somebody to sort of be my seller, is I do this is for me, okay? a two-part listing presentation. And that's just my background. You know, I've been very consultative sales. Most of the, you know, sold software, sold very expensive, you know, 10, 20, $30 million software. So I tend to be very relational. I'm very big about trying to develop a relationship first. Now, I'll have an opportunity where they say, I'll sign with you. I've got the paperwork right there, ready to go. You know, so, but most of the time, since I'm really new at this, I'm not getting a lot of referrals, so I'm having to really meet somebody, and when I'm gonna ask somebody to do it, it'll be, you know, as if it was a referral, maybe we spoke over the phone, you know, one time and I scheduled the appointment. So, what I really try to do on that first meeting is actually develop a relationship, develop a little bit of a rapport. What I actually do is I'll go in and, you know, I tell them that I wanna go ahead, I wanna take a look at your home, because obviously, your home is unique compared to the others that are in the marketplace. So for me to be able to get an accurate price for you, I need to have you walk me through the home, tell me the things that you've done to the home, the upgrades that you've done to the home, so that I can look at it versus other comp and come back to you with a price that would be accurate. So that's what my first meeting is about. And then what I tell them when we're done is that I'll come back, I definitely try to schedule it within a week. Come back, and then I lay out the entire, what I see as the marketing strategy, what I would do, you know, for their particular home and how we would market it. Now, what I did here is I tried to make it some of it specific, but try to keep it generic. You know, some of the items I took out just because of the sake of time. Actually, in total, between my initial presentation, you know, when I come in that first time in my marketing, you know, would be about 36 slides. So, you know, it's really nice to break it up, you know, that way, because it allows me to go in depth a little bit, yes.
So Scott, is this your first visit one presentation or visit two?
I actually have it, I have both.
Okay.
So, you know, you'll see, you know, the first one, we'll go through it, and then we'll just take a break, and then we'll go ahead, and then I'll go through the marketing strategy like I just came back, you know, my second visit. So I have both of them here.
Is this a certain branded slides as far as like Michael Lewis and different?
Michael Lewis did some of it, but I've added, I've started to really add my own touch as I've gotten more comfortable, you know, with some of the data. You'll see, you know, some of the things that, did anybody have Michael Lewis develop their presentation? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you may see some elements of that in here, and like my buyer broker right now is completely my own. And so you'll start to see some things that are non-market, Michael Lewis marketing suite, you know, in here.
You added it.
I did, so, you know, I have a lot of experience with.
Are you gonna share this or no?
What's that?
Are you gonna share this or this is just personal?
Actually, I don't know what they want me to do, so, I have a lot of experience with PowerPoint, which is helpful. So, you know, in creating my own slides. And by the way, if somebody really wants to create their own, you know, I'd be glad to take some time. You know, I have an office on the far side in the wall in our main part of our office. And, you know, I'd be glad to help, you know, people out.
Scott?
Yes.
When you present this, do you have them printed and are they in a presentation binder or are you doing it digitally?
No, I decided, I've done it on my iPad, and it's a big one, it's, you know, it's the biggest one you can get.
Right.
And, I didn't like that dynamic, you know, for some reason. And I'm used to just working with a presentation from a computer with a, you know, a fob in my hand changing. But in my environment, again, as I told you, this is the first time I've done B2C, I found it's just better to print it out. Now I print it out, it's 36-pound paper, high gloss, very good print. I have a, you know, good high quality laser printer, you know, print from, and I bind it. So, again, that's my brand, right? So, you know, they're not only seeing me when I come in, my brand, but what I'm reviewing with them is an extension of my brand and the image I'm trying to, you know, convey to them.
And you leave that package with them?
I do leave it with them.
Okay.
So what I do is, you know, I have a Keller Williams folder. I use the black ones. They have black and whites. So I really like the black one. So, so I, you know, one side I'll have the listing agreement there. If they're ready to sign, I'm ready to go. So it's already filled out, you know, with all their information. You know, we may have to handwrite some things in where I didn't have all the information. And then the other side, I'll have my presentation, with them. You have a little insert, for cutouts for, the business cards, as well. So, I have found, let's see, how many listings did I have last year? I had 6 or 7 listings, all sold. I only lost one presentation, listing presentation. And it was a big one though. It was $1.6 million, dollar house. And everybody know Trey Cooper?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was telling Trey, I saw him. I said, they called me just about a month ago, and they said they weren't getting any results, and they were gonna, if the house didn't sell by the end of the month, they were gonna come back to me. They sold. So bummer. I'm glad for them. This is me. This is the way that I like to do it. At the end of the day, you have to be really personal with what you have up here and what you're really comfortable with. So, you can try to duplicate, what I've got here, but at the end of the day, it's what you're comfortable with in terms of the data and the presentation, the order, and so forth. Any other questions before we, go ahead and get started? Okay. So actually, what I'll do, let's see, who wants to be? Let's see, you want to try? What's your name?
Bill.
Bill. Okay, Bill.
Scott, are you okay if we take some pictures of those?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'll just I'll give the presentation to Cecilia,
Okay.
and then,
She got email it?
yeah, and then let her email it out to you guys.
Thank you so
Okay?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
So we give you our business cards or how, we get the emails?
actually, yeah, if you want to just do that, does everybody have a business card they
Yeah.
can just leave or an email address? If you do that, I'll email it to you, okay? All right. So Bill and I, we've just, we've maybe spoke 5-10 minutes over the phone, right? Said enough to at least get you interested in having.
How did I meet you?
Huh?
Was I referred to you, or did you
No,
call?
I'm gonna actually have you be, that you answered one of my marketing pieces.
All right.
Okay, so you answered it, you called, you were intrigued enough to at least have me come in.
Gotcha.
And then we'll start from there. And again, so I've got the presentation, and but we're not even gonna start at that point. So we're gonna just start the conversation as if we're at the front door. All right. Okay. Hey, Bill, it's Scott Einfeldt. How are you?
Hey, Scott, good to see you. Thank you for coming by.
Well, I really thank you for taking the time to visit with me today. Particularly in the evening. I know you're busy. I know you traveled. You mentioned that you traveled quite a bit.
Oh boy.
So in your beautiful home, you obviously must travel a lot to maintain the home.
Thank
So
you.
yeah. So I appreciate your time. Just to recap a few things. Why don't you share with me, why you're looking to sell your home at this point in
Well,
time?
you mentioned the travel, and I have a opportunity with another company that I've accepted, and that relocation is taking me from Atlanta here to I will be based out of Charlotte next.
Are you familiar with the Charlotte area?
It's going to be a new frontier for me. I'm excited.
I used to travel there a lot on business, so I mean, depending on where you live, I think it's a great environment. And you said you had how many children?
I have 2.
In what grades?
They are in 11th and 9th.
Well, nice. That would be a pretty big transition for them.
No, well, they're not all that excited. They've got good friends here.
I remember when I moved, we lived in the same area our entire life, and then my father took another job, and we were just getting ready to go into high school, all our friends, and it's a big move for people. So one of the things that I would like to be able to do, obviously, is to take the burden off you, selling your house so you can get settled, in your new environment,
I'm
in
looking
Charlotte.
forward to anything that can get more weight off my shoulders, that's for sure.
I didn't even ask you, what line of work are you in?
I sell software.
You do?
Mhm.
Okay. To what industry? Do you know?
It is to the B2B industry, and it has worked well, and this is a new startup company. They've got a new take on what others have been doing, and it just looks real exciting, and with all that growth opportunity, well, there's a risk and a reward, but it looks like the reward could be tremendous in the big picture.
Okay, all right, that's great. When we get into my bio, which I'll cover a little bit, today, I think we're going to be kindred spirits a little bit. You'll see there'll be some similarities.
Interesting.
In terms of our background. Now, in terms of timing, so you gotta move, do you have to be in Charlotte by a certain time, and if you do, what kind of pressure does that put on you to be able to sell your house? Do you have to sell your house before you buy another one?
I do need to sell my house. I do want to purchase a home up there. I have not done that yet. And I really would like to be there so that the kids can get settled in school. I believe their school year starts mid-August.
Okay.
So I'd like to have this all said and done by the end of July, if at all possible.
All right, so I think with the timeline that we're working on, at least, I'm gonna have you show me around your house in a minute so that I can take some notes. Now, what we're gonna really do, and it's really important for me to explain, is I wanna take the time today to be able to have you show me your home. And I'll be taking notes. I'll probably even be taking some pictures as we go through. I wanna use those for myself, so I won't share that with anybody
All right.
else. But what I use that for is I'll come back in another week, and then and it could be less, depending what your schedule looks like. But then I'll go ahead and give you what I believe will be your market list price of your home. So in order for me to do that, I need to see what your home is like. You can share with me, the different upgrades that you've done to your homes.
Sure.
In the period of time that you've lived here. And by the way, how long have you lived in your home?
We've been in the home 7 years.
7 years. Okay. All right. So there probably had to be at least one other owner before you. So I'll take all that information, and then when I come back and lay out the entire marketing strategy for your home, I'll be able to give you a really good idea in terms of what the market price will be, what I think we'll set it at, and I think probably where we think that we'll wind up, as well.
Right.
So the one really good thing, and you're going to see here, is that it is a very strong seller's market right now. So you couldn't have chosen a better time to
I'm
move
glad.
from Atlanta,
Good
from
deal.
Atlanta, at this point in time. All right, so he's going to take me around the house, show me around the house. I do take notes. Sometimes I take videos. Like a house I did yesterday, day before. I took the video all the way through on my iPad. So, and it's the first time I've done that. But it really helps me to go back. I can look at the home, compare it to other homes, that I'm really using as comps. And this house was not very good. So it wasn't a good home. So when I looked at it, I said, I want to take videos because I'm going to really have to remember this home. There's too many notes I'd have to take. So after we're done, he shows me his house. We'll come back and we'll usually sit down, and then that's when I usually will bring out my folder in my presentation. So we're just talking, trying to gather some data points, what's really important to him, what's his timeline, in this case, and again, just try to build a little bit of rapport, with him. Okay. So Bill, thank you for taking the time. Lovely home. I don't know, is this all you're doing, or is your wife, is she really a nice design person? Because I don't really see, there's gonna be some things we'd wanna do to make the home maybe more appealing, but very little. So I don't know if I credit you or your wife for
Credit
that.
her. She's just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, with the way the house looks and the way it's just real comfortable to live.
That's excellent. You can see it. I get a sense that it's really a home. You're in an executive home. I hope you didn't mind me, I took an external picture before our meeting just to get a sense that, the neighborhood, which I already knew.
Mhm.
Your home is actually less than a mile from my home.
Really?
It is. So I actually know our community very, very well. That's Spalding Lake, that's Spalding Lake, the Sandy Springs Panhandle area.
Mhm.
It has some beautiful aspects to it, but it has some challenges. So, somebody who doesn't really know, the benefits and the challenges in the given area, they might not know how to properly market your home. We lived here for 19 years, so I know what we're doing and knowing it very well. So what I thought we would do, as I shared, is just to share a little bit about myself and Keller Williams, and give you a sense as to the comps that are in the area. And by the way, at the end here, I would normally have comps, and I pull it out, spreadsheet. I organize the data so that he can see, and I can even tell him by the end of my first meeting where I think I'll give him a 20 in this price range. This is $500 to $750,000. So I'm going to give him at the end of the first meeting $50,000 price range where I think his home is going to wind up before I do any deeper analysis, which I would bring in for the next meeting. So I do come prepared with a spreadsheet, which I don't have up here. It's a little hard. I can take a screenshot, I guess, of it and go on from there. So Bill.
I think you have to point to that.
It's in here. Here's all my, I know I sent you my D card.
Yes.
After, we first spoke, but you can see all my contact details on the right-hand side. I think you're gonna find I'm very accessible. I tell my clients that they can actually, call me up to 9 o'clock at night. If I'm working on a contract, it's usually till 11, to be able to get things done, so I'm very, very accessible, to my clients. And our office is in Sandy Springs as well, so we're up near the hospitals, the Pill Hill area. So we're literally 10 minutes, from your home right now. So why Keller Williams? A lot of people ask me that. Why do they want to select Keller Williams versus anybody else?
All right.
So at this point in time, have you talked to any other agents about whether you want them to list their home?
At this point, I haven't spoken with anyone, but my next door neighbor says that, Sotheby's has done a great job for them and a friend of theirs.
Okay.
So I may be interested in speaking with them also.
I think that's fair. Sotheby's does a fantastic job, in the marketplace. But that's why I wanted to spend a few moments as to why I think Keller Williams would be a great choice, for you. First of all, we're the largest real estate organization in the world. So that's important because you're going to have visibility across our entire organization when we have a listing. And we'll talk about our marketing strategy a little bit more in detail in our next visit. But the breadth and depth of our organization, will allow us to be able to reach a much broader network of individuals than any other organization, in the world itself. And just as importantly, I'll go back. I say, just as importantly with Keller Williams, First Atlanta, which is who I really work for, Keller Williams First Atlanta has been the #1 brokerage in all of Atlanta for the last 8 years.
Wow.
So we actually close more transactions than anybody, transactions in dollars. And given the fact that Keller Williams is the world's largest real estate firm, we're the #3 organization, our brokerage firm, Keller Williams First Atlanta, and all of Keller Williams. So we have, when your home is listed, it's just not going to be listed on a local basis. And as you're going to see when you talk about marketing strategy, it'll be global. But at the end of the day, it really is all about your business, your community, and what I like to call a micro market in the area. So Keller Williams as an organization would be a great tool and a great organization to work with. The way I also look at it is from my standpoint, you're getting two, for the price of one. A little bit about my background. Last year I was a top 10 producer for the Atlanta Board of Realtors. You can see my transactions and my totals and my awards. I'm accredited buyer as well as pricing strategy advisor. So what the pricing strategy advisor really means is that I'm really good at analysis and really being able to look at data, turning that into knowledge for you, and then giving you insight into how we can leverage your home, be able to maximize the capabilities, be able to get you the highest price for your home in the shortest period of time. So, and we'll go into that in a great deal, detail. But that's my bio, and this is some of the other items that I've done in my my career. We were talking about the kindred spirit.
Yeah.
I actually came from a software background and a biomedical background, both healthcare, telecommunication, data analytics, and actually worked for a company that developed software, project management software for custom home builders, as well. So I've been blessed to have a diverse background, which makes me sort of uniquely qualified, to be able to, do this business, itself. So this will give you, some idea, of both my executive as well as my grassroots level. I started selling door to door, as a kid, sold door to door, paid my way through college as well. So I still carry that same, pound of pavement kind of approach with all my marketing, that I do in the real estate business. And as I talked about, we lived here for 19 years, but I've been married for 36 years, and I only live less than a mile away from you. Okay. You know what though? The one thing that I want you to really think about, this marriage of Keller Williams with my background and experience in the sales and marketing, is think of it, I saw you have an iPhone earlier when we were walking through. Think of Keller Williams as your iPhone iOS. So it's the background, it's the organization of that device, the operability of that device, that will make the phone work and make phone calls. But really what I am is I'm the app that is actually on top of that iOS on your phone. So Scott Fine Homes is the application that ultimately makes the user interface, makes it go, makes it marketing, gets your home sold, does all the work to get your house ready to be sold at the end of the day. So you have a great engine with Keller Williams on the front end, and me, the app, which is really going to be the front end of being able to get your home sold. So put those two together, that is the winning combination. So we were talking about the right time to be able to sell a house. We're going to cover just a few slides to actually demonstrate that. So Atlanta metro area, we're obviously in the North Fulton area right there. But a couple of slides that I wanted to really show you, that's really important. The first is we can start over here. The prices of homes year over year, has gone up 6.1%. So in our area though, the micro market of the Sandy Springs Panhandle, we're just a little over 4%. But in the market as a whole, we're doing pretty good. But a really key aspect is our days on market. So days on market is when we list a home, how quickly does it take to get the home under contract? And you can see, the drop. It's dropped down 22% from the the prior year. Even though that we haven't increased as high as the other areas, our days on market is actually almost 25% in our marketplace. So from your standpoint, when you're looking to want to be able to move, and timing is important to you as you get ready to move to Charlotte, this is really an important feature, as well. So I'll leave the other data, with you, but these are the two takeaways, at least from this slide, that I think would be really important for you. This is probably one of the really key slides. So in Atlanta, the point of equilibrium, where a seller or a buyer doesn't really have any advantage in the negotiation of the sale of a home or the purchase of a home, is 6 months of inventory. That 2.9 is the available inventory right now in the Atlanta metro area. Huge seller's market, right now. So as I said, you couldn't have chosen a better time to be able to put your home, on the market right now. In many cases, if the home is priced right, and if the home is in good condition, which your home right now is in good condition, I think we can probably get you into a multiple offer situation right from the get-go.
And then you said that you'd help me out with some suggestions about just some things to even improve it beyond that.
I will. So, and again, we will cover that in more detail, but I'll just give you an overview. I would actually, bring my designer in to help actually, maybe go through maybe just a little bit of decluttering, maybe moving a little furniture to maximize the, the space. I work on trying to create a profile, which I call ICP, Ideal Customer Profile. That would be more likely than not to want to be able to buy the home. Your home, because of its size, we're going to be targeting a director level and above in a company. Probably is married, maybe isn't, but certainly has a family given the size of the home. And I'll create a strategy to be able to reach those digitally, besides the offline stuff, digitally be able to reach that ICP, that ideal customer profile. But the one thing that really works in our favor is that it is a seller's market, in which make my job even that much easier. So what this is actually really telling, and this is sort of a precursor, right now to a conversation that we'll have at pricing, when I come back, is this point right here. So pricing, I mean, if your home, just the way that it is, today, if that home is priced to the point where we're gonna have to take price reductions, we price it too high, okay, and we have to start taking, tranches down, in terms of lowering the price. When they have to do at least one price reduction, on average, you're only gonna get 91.5% of your list price. If you list it correctly from the get-go, so there are no price reductions, you can expect to have almost a 99% return on what that list price is. We call it sale price to list price.
Okay.
So the analysis that I do, that's why I wanted to walk through your home, to be able to understand what your home looks like compared to others that have sold recently, and others that may and probably will come on the market, but at the same time yours does, so that we get it priced properly right from the get-go. If we do that, we're going to have a very short days on market, and you're going to get a much better chance of getting that full list price, which I'm sure, get those two combinations
I like that.
You like that
those two
combination, right?
combinations. I like that.
Great. So in this area, what I decided to do is take some data. You know, I talked about the Sandy Springs Panhandle. This could be a little confusing, but I'll just break it down for you. So, and this is based on fourth quarter data. That's the most recent, you know, that we have. And the data that I showed you was fourth quarter as
All right.
well. So in our, the Sandy Springs Panhandle, there were 35 homes that closed in our area. And we're in the price range of $500,000 to $750,000. I think, you know, it's a pretty broad category, but that's the way that the multiple listing system has. To show you the impact that if you price the house correctly, is if you had 12 closings with no price reductions, 12 closings, and they had 99%. So that pretty much aligned with what the general market did in you know, in general, right? 9 days on market.
That's amazing.
Okay, huge. If you take the inverse of that, where you had to do a price reduction, there were 23 closes, so the sale price, the list price percentage was 92%. Again, our Sandy Spring Panhandle aligns with the market, you know, in general as well. So, but look at the days on market, you know, 72 here and 221 days there. Time that you don't really have. So, you know, putting even greater emphasis on, number one, me, to be able to get the price right, and so that we're aligned to make sure that it maximizes the price, but still gets the home sold in a reasonable period of time.
Now, I do have may I ask a question, because I
Yeah.
have a concern. 9 days on the market, although I like that idea, that seems very short. Do you think that those are underpriced in order to get that? Because I don't want to give the house away.
You know, it was interesting you say that. I think before I got into real estate, that was my instinct as well. You know, we had our home sold. I was going to move to Charlottesville, Virginia. My company wanted me to relocate, you know, to Charlottesville, and we had our home on the market. And one of the homes sold in our neighborhood, first day on the market, called the agent and said, "Why did that house sell in the very first day?" She said, "Because it was priced right." And I said, "No, I think it was undervalued. I think they could have got more money."
That's my concern.
The same thing, the exact same thing that you're thinking as
Right.
well. So, but now that I'm on this side of the table,
Right.
you know, I understand, you know, all the complexities that really going into being able to market a home and getting the price right done on the front end. So what can really happen, and what I expect that we can get if we price the home right, that we can get it sold, but I believe we can get ourselves into a multiple offer situation. I think pricing it right, the timing of when you're selling your home, because we're in a seller's market, make it ideal to be able to get into over list price. And you'll see that in many of the other homes. I will tell you from my buyer standpoint, my last 5 transactions, 4 of the 5 went to multiple offer situation. 1 went to 10, had 10, and you know, fortunately, you know, my clients, I was able to help them win 4 of the 5. That's the kind of environment we want to get in. So, and they were all over list price, but that's just the nature of the market right now.
I got it. It's different than a few years ago.
It is. So, you know, this is our market specifically. So the other graphs were just the Atlanta Metro. This is our market. You're a little bit of a micro market from here because, you know, now you're in Spalding Green within the Sandy Springs Panhandle, but the data would be pretty congruent, you know, with our area. Any other questions on this?
No, good.
No? Okay. Listen, we could just talk about this. I'm going to lead this with you, but I don't know if you've gone out and done the Zestimates or any of the other online tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know you did. So, and I know in your mind's eye, you notice I didn't even ask you what I think your home should sell for. I won't ask you that because I don't want you to think when I come back with my price, that you led me. I want to come in accurately, and then we can debate. You know, I'll basically show my number before you need to tell me yours. But the reality is those tools are good at, you know, sort of getting a baseline. And what that baseline is that, you know, Bill, your home is 6 bedrooms, 5.5 baths, this number of square feet on this size lot. And that's what this estimate, some of the other tools that are out there are going to do. They're going to make a like for like comparison based on key specs, you know, of the home. But what I do, which is the Realtor valuation model, which is I come in, take a look at, you know, upgrades and the things that you've done. I compare that to the other homes, and then that's when I come back and say, this is what I believe the market value of your home is. None of those tools take those into consideration. So you could be putting $100,000 in your home with new kitchens, new items. it won't take that into consideration whatsoever. So that's why, somebody like myself coming in, spending the time with you, having you walk me through, then doing the analysis in preparation for our next meeting is really important.
Makes sense.
So that's the difference between an automated valuation model, which most people see from an online tool, versus a realtor, valuation model. And again, that's reading, material if you want to fall asleep. Well, let's go back. Okay, so actually I left this in for something else. I didn't actually put the right valuation model in here. So what I really do right here is I give a summation of what my valuation, my value proposition, really is to the client. I took this from my buyer. Sorry, side, things. And so that's what I summarize. I go over the data first. I told you a spreadsheet. After that, so I'll say that transition from that slide is say, so Bill, I did do some analysis before we got together. I got a spreadsheet here, and I'd have it in his item, and I'd have mine loose. And then we'd go over and say, here are the items that have sold. Now you can do the quick CMA. You can do that, but I like to take the data out, put it in a spreadsheet, put it in a nice format, so that it looks pretty. It looks like I did analysis, which I did, and it already looks like I'm doing work. I'm efforting, some things that are unique to, Bill's area. But it still is at a macro level, because I didn't see his home. I didn't really see how it worked out, but I can at least show him what is sold in the area, what's the price per square foot, how many days on market. Share with him that, because I've seen those homes, say, this one, Bill, based on what you just showed me, this home I think, is probably has more upgrades than yours, or these other two, I think your home is superior, these were the price ranges. But I usually will come in and say, even at the end of that spreadsheet, I'll say, I think this is the range that we're working in. Give them at this price point, give them a $50,000 price range for that first meeting. So then we may chat, and then we, then we would,
Quick question, would you do that $50,000 range on a $250,000 house?
No, it'd be between 10 and 25.
Got it.
Alright, so when you go for the first meet, you take the quick CMA and for the subdivision and around 2 miles around the house, or?
Yeah, it actually depends on how big the neighborhood is. Like this particular neighborhood has 42 or 46 homes, to it, and they have very little turnover. So that means I had to go a little bit, broader out. If it was a big enough, say 300-400, homes in the neighborhood, and had good churn, and I probably could just pull all the data I need just from that community. So if it's one that doesn't have a lot of data to it, and a lot of sold data, then you have to expand out your reach, whether it's maybe a mile or so.
Do you do staging as well?
I do, and I cover that as part of my marketing on my next presentation. Yes.
Real cool question, when you do the CMA, do you go past 6 months? Do you go into 9 months or a year, besides broadening the area?
Only if there's not enough data in that 6 months. In some cases, that's definitely the case.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if this is too personal a question to ask or not, but it may be applicable. The neighborhood I'm farming has, it's over here. It has tear downs at 300,000. It has established permanent residents who've been there for 20 years, where they haven't done much to the house, but aren't selling because they can't replace the house. And then you take the tear downs, you make them into $1 million houses, and then there's one other group that's hard to distinguish between, is that it's a self-renovation or remodeling.
Right.
Not self by the buyer, but a builder renovation, where they may put $100,000 or $150,000 in top of that $300,000 house. And I just wondered how you handle the comps on that, because there's a lot of detail.
Right.
Out of that 50 houses, even though you know the market, it's sometimes very difficult to know what that lady did down the street.
You really need to actually have, and the pricing strategy, if I had that designation, went through, I mean, that was really a good class to go through, because it helped me better understand the stuff that we did in our realtor class, developing comps and, the subject property and, how much you weight, different upgrades to one home and, so I had a situation like that. It was a Brookhaven house, and anybody know Sexton Woods? Yeah, or in that area? So there's a lot Sexton Woods in Brookhaven. So a lot of tear downs going on there, some new houses going up, and people remodeled the homes that have been there for a long time. So, but he was buying one of the newer homes, right? So it was a resale, and he was buying one of the newer homes, and in those kind of situations, I really have to do like for like, right? Because it was only 2 or 3 years old. It was a total tear down, right? And then it's only 2 or 3 years old, and the houses on either side of them are 40, 50 years old. So there were enough tear downs in that neighborhood that I could get a good enough comp, to come in and say, okay, this is, and I represented the buyer obviously, and I said, this is what I think our offer price should be, and this is where I think we're gonna wind up. So I always tell a buyer, they ask me, what do you think I should offer? I never tell, whether it's in a listing or whether it's a buyer, when I'm first meeting them, what I think the house should sell. Let's say they like it and want to place an offer. So let me look at the data, before I give you an informed, opinion. And because I don't, I can say a wrong number, and then I lose credibility. So, and most of them are okay. Now I have that my big iPad that I take in with me, when I'm representing, buyers and we're looking at houses. So I can pull up, if they really like homes, so let's pull up, the comps, homes that have sold in the last 6 months in this area. I did that yesterday up in Roswell. Somebody, we put an offer in last night. So I said, and I looked at the data, there were enough right there. I said, okay, the house was 425. As a matter of fact, it's Samantha, our colleague, Samantha Phillips. So I said, I would come in at, based on this, I'd say 405 and ask for 7,000 closing costs, because you can see all the data right there, right? So he agreed, and we put it together. So there was enough data where I feel like I was pretty comfortable in telling him what I think our. But I told him where I think we were going to wind up. So we're going to probably wind up between 410, 415, and then maybe 4,000 or 5,000 closing costs. So I tell him that that's our anchor. I call it anchoring. So I said we're anchoring ourselves. They gave us a price, so now I'm anchoring us lower than them, and it's reasonable because it was a reasonable offer. So, and then it's a range that we both can work from, and I set that client expectation up front. So, but to be able to do that, if I were representing somebody who was in one of those older homes in Sexton Woods, I would really just have to look at comps of ones that are older homes that have been remodeled. And if you don't have the remodels, but it's an older home, then you have to really try to do an estimate as to what those upgrades may have looked like to determine what the value of that home should be. It's hard. I mean, we're not appraisers, right? I mean, we play one at times, but we need to caution. Right down here, no matter the quality, neither the RVM or the AVM model should never be considered list price, sale price, CMA, or appraisal. So that would be my disclaimer, at the end of it. But I mean, we have an educated guess. I mean, they are looking to us, for that advice. So we did. So that first meeting, depending on how long the tour is, so we could talk for 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how many questions you may ask, going through. I think there are 10, probably 10 slides. Go through that. That meeting is typically an hour. By the time they walk through, spend the time, allows me to build rapport. He's either gonna hate me or he's gonna, like me back or something like that. So, but as I said, I never ask them what their price is. I don't want to lose credibility to think I'm playing to what his needs are. I want to be able to come in. My tagline is results with integrity. I want to be able to come in and say, this is what I think your house should sell for. Now we may disagree, and we may go back and forth about whether it'll work. But I've never had somebody be so unrealistic where I said I'm not going to take the listing, your presentation. I have said, okay, I'm willing to try that price for 2 weeks. If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to try that price for 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, we need to drop it down to my price. And, you know, there's data in the slides, and you'll see, you know, as to why that's really important. So I've done that twice.
But Scott, you know, the house that I wanna buy in Charlotte, I absolutely need to net X dollars in my pocket. And that means that with your fee on top of it, I've gotta sell it at this number. And you just come up with a number that's slightly less than that.
Bill, I can appreciate that, and you know I'm gonna give you every dollar that you possibly can, but I do not determine the market. The market determines, you know, the price of the house. So, you know, you're gonna see in my marketing strategy, you know, the breadth and depth of both the digital, your presence that I'm gonna give you, as well as the offline presence. And we're gonna do everything I'm gonna do, as well as Keller Williams, everything possible to be able to bring that seller, multiple sellers in, to ensure that you get to that price. And if we price it right, as you saw, we're gonna get 99% of our list price.
Do you go into as detailed a presentation if you're in a strong warm market referral type situation?
If it's a referral,
Yeah.
I've gotten some referrals where I've never even done a presentation. They walk me through the house, give me a price. Now, I've only had 2 referrals. Out of all my closings so far, I've only had 2 referrals. So, yeah, that's part of the nature. You know, I've lived here for 19 years, but my business was national and international. So, I mean, it's really been a burn, you know, try to get some referrals. Well, then my new clients now are starting to get, you know, that I had from last year are starting to send me referrals. But from a listing presentation 2, and that was easy. Now, I still gave them the whole package. And with those, I actually FedExed it to them, like the whole thing. This part and the part that we're gonna go over. And just sent them FedEx the whole thing. You know, handwrite a note. I got my note cards, my personalized note cards, and say, you know, hey, it was great, you know, to chat with you. You know, I thank, you know, Bill for, you know, putting us together. You know, here's a little bit about my background and how I'm going to sell your home. When I come and visit, you know, we can discuss this in more detail. Take a look at it, and we'll go over that in more detail. I would only do that in a referral because I want to go over this. If I don't know them, and they have a buddy next door who has a realtor, you know, friend, he's got a lot more rapport. He's going to trust his neighbor a lot more than me just coming in. So I need to, you know, cover certain things. Now the dynamic can change, right? If I got a really, like for me, I don't know if I could sit through the whole presentation like that. If somebody gave it to me,
Right.
that's cool. I'll go through it. I'll just hit the high points. I know who he is pretty quick as we're walking through. You know, I may say, Bill, I've got this whole bunch of information here, but let me make sure I highlight just a few key items. The first is the market, boom. And I may not even cover my bio. I say my bio's in here, but let me just share a little bit, you know, about my bio. Just talk, you know, through it, and do it that way. But he's got it because I'm that way, right? So, but I need to be prepared, not knowing who, you know, who I'm dealing with, to be able to. If somebody wants to go into a lot of detail, or I know the data well enough, or I'm comfortable enough with the presentation where I can just talk to it if I need to. Yeah.
What percentage of your listing appointments are people that actually kind of already have in their mind what they want to list the house for versus depending on you to tell them the price?
Everyone.
Okay.
And you know why? Because it's that Zestimate. You know, people go to Zillow, you know, that I did it, you know, before I got into this business. I checked my house occasionally, right? Just to see what the price was.
Is the Zillow estimate usually higher or lower than the?
You know, it depends actually on your home, right? So I go back to whether your home has done a lot of upgrades. If you've done a lot of upgrades, it is not gonna take that into consideration. So, you know, I get a lot saying, geez, you know, let's say, you know, we're in our next thing, and I say, listen, Bill, I think your home, you know, I think we should list it for $750. But I think it'll wind up probably around, you know, $740 or so. You know, I think that would be a fun price. Scott, because I got $300,000, you know, into this house, you know, and so forth, and you know, I'll listen and so forth. And I go back to, I get it. said, you know, I spent a lot of money in my house too, you know, to make it really comfortable for me and my family, you know, to live in, and hopefully I get all my money back, but I know I'm not gonna get all my money back. And unfortunately, you know, I mean, you can't do anything about a job transfer. The market's gonna dictate, you know, what the price of the house is. You can't think of it that way, otherwise you're gonna, you know, just drive yourself crazy, you're gonna give yourself an ulcer. And, but that's part of the challenge you face with.
Are those estimates ever right?
Yeah, they could be right. I mean, if Bill's house was exactly like everybody else's, you know, then it would be accurate. So, but that is.
I mean, if it's like an older house with no updates with the estimate.
That's probably more likely gonna be the case, right? Where, you know, there are a lot of homes that maybe the people haven't done a lot of upgrades. They're 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, you know, say Dunwoody, you know, 4 bedroom, all the bedrooms up, half bath on the main level. Maybe a finished or unfinished basement would be the only difference, yeah. I mean, you know, his estimate would be pretty accurate then.
Just describe my house, I haven't estimated it, but that's my house.
Yeah.
1970.
Any other questions? I know we're.
I don't know if this would be a good question for you to answer, but I'll try it anyway. So, if you go to an appointment and someone wants to meet with you before, like months before they're about to remodel their home so that they anticipate getting a higher value, how do you handle situations like that? So if they're calling on you for your expertise to tell them what to change in the house, or how much, or even further, how much value would those particular areas in the house, or, you know, remodels or upgrades actually bring about in value for a list price?
Actually, I don't have it in any one of these presentations, but I have a slide that I can send somebody, that will tell them what their projected return on investment would be, you know, for each category. Remodel kitchen, high, medium, low, remodel master bathroom, high, medium, low, those kind of things, to give them an idea as to what that, what they can expect return on investment. If it's a really, really nice house, and it's one where I'm willing, I know they're gonna remodel, but I know that maybe they're gonna probably sell at some point, I may make the investment and actually have my designer, you know, come in. We can do a walkthrough. Now I'm paying for that, right? So, but, you know, I'm building rapport. I'm building, you know, trust and building some equity, you know, with them. Now, I wouldn't do that for a $200,000 or $300,000 house in all likelihood. So it'd probably be at least $500,000.
Gotcha. So would that designer be actually giving you the knowledge on what they should do, but then who still comes up with that amount? What the designer would do, the one that I use now pretty much almost exclusively, she actually does a consultation report. So she actually will give them colors, tiles. She'll give them recommendations, you know, as to what they could do based on what the trend is, you know, now. You know, so I mean, you know, it's turnkey, and she does that even when she does my design consultations for my listing presentations. So if people want to, you know, do a remodel, but even there she does. If they don't want to do a remodel, she still does colors, you know, that are important, that, you know, need to be done or changed, her recommendation.
Scott, when you say designer, do you mean staging consultant, or is it more than just?
Yeah, the company is Homes Designed to Sell. You guys have heard it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I worked with different designers. I really like Lisa. You know, she's a little funky and eclectic. She speaks her mind. I tell people that before they come in. You know, she's very opinionated, just, you know, and but we don't have to take out all her recommendations, right? But she, and I've used staging services now in 3 homes, and I haven't used them. I thought they were too expensive, so I've used another, and so they can do staging, but you know, she is a designer, interior designer. That's her background.
She just works.
They just happen to work for, right, they just happen to work for, you know, a company who also provides services, staging services.
I mean, they come in and they just basically say, move that, this.
Yeah, they move that, move it around, you know, take this out. You know, the reports are pretty detailed. You know, they take pictures at the end of the day. You know, they're walking through, take pictures at the end of the day. You put X's on things that need to, you know, be moved out. You know, tell them what colors, you know, drapes, whatever, you know, that need to be done.
price range, 250, something like that?
For them, between 3 and 4, depending on the house. It could be 5, depending on size house.
Do you cover that or cover a portion of it?
No, I cover that.
You cover it all?
I do.
Okay.
So,
What was the company name?
homes designed to sell.
To sell.
Right, number 2.
Okay.
Okay. John, what time's your group start?
Not till 12, but we just need a few minutes to rearrange the room and that sort of thing.
Okay, all right. So, well, we won't have enough time to go through the full thing, but I'll just sort of
How
hustle
much
through.
time do you need, Scott?
No, well, we just did my first part of my first meeting, so now I was going over the marketing strategy itself. I'm gonna give them my presentation anyway, so that they have it. So this is our second meeting. I'm gonna probably make it less interactive.
Absolutely,
Okay, so
absolutely.
we'll just go through, items. So I really, and what I included here, and when I send it to you, I'll include my offline.
For any interaction.
I'll include my offline, where I talk about photography, that I do, the print, that I do, as well. So here, where it was listing consultation, here's my marketing strategy to sell Richard and Mary Jernigan's, home. Okay, so always got a brain, right? So I started by talking about marketing strategy. So I really talk about why a digital presence is really important, and why that has really changed over time. So now this was a Michael Lewis marketing slide, but I actually converted it into something that that I wanted to be able to use. So, I talk about how important the internet really is. It was even back in 2004, but it's become even more so in 2000. Most recent data is here's 2014, but I believe the new data shows it's like 92% of the people. They search, the buyers are looking online at homes before they even contact an agent to go see it. So your digital presence has to be significant, has to be deep, and it has to be broad along the line. So people are still using real estate agents, but mobile apps, look, 12, 13 years ago, there was no presence at all. And we have almost any home you can find as you're driving around. Keller Williams has a mobile app. We talked about that previously. That's there. Yard signs are still important. Open houses are still an important vehicle, and that's actually an important part of my strategy, of our grand opening weekend strategy that we'll do. But you can see, how the online video site's becoming even greater. Part of what I will be doing, not only taking pictures, but your size home would be about a 6 or 7 minute video customized to your home. It goes out to a significant number of places on the internet. We'll cover those, but also goes on a YouTube channel. That's where a lot of people go to. Have a YouTube channel to be able to optimize that. You can see the less and less, printing. Printing is, frankly, in this day and age, is really about the agent's branding. So, don't be fooled, by just doing, digital print. I do it as well, but I become much more focused around your neighborhoods and the surrounding neighborhoods to be able to get the word out that your home is on the market. Because people that live in your market want to have their friends live in the market as well. So that's the reason why it's much more targeted when I'm doing my print. When it goes out on the listing, it goes out to hundreds of different websites, and it cascades all the way through. Once we actually make the listing, go through, and that's there 24/7. So that has basic information about your home that you would see like on a Trolio or Zillow or Realtor.com, as well. Any agent's going to provide this for you, whether it's me, whether it happen to be, your neighbor's, realtor, as well. So where I start to differentiate myself is each home. This is what we're going to talk about now. Each home is going to have its own individual, property webpage. So it's going to have its own unique URL. So I took your home address. So I take your home address, and then it has its own page, and it'll have all your pictures, it'll have your video. My signs that I put in the ground are, not the kind you stake in the ground. They're, professional luxury type signs. Heavy, it goes with the image of your home. Looking in, and that'll be one of the hangers. So when people are driving by on their phone, they can just pull up your website and be able to look at it, right there. Yes.
How much does it cost you to make these websites for each of the homes?
The photography company that I use actually provides me a single page website for every home. I'm thinking about, I use Playster, everybody uses Playster, for my website. I'm thinking about trying on my next home, probably not the next home, but the one after that. The web, their single page website, as well. See if it provides more information. The one thing I'd like to have is maybe schools in the area and so forth, where this one doesn't do it, as well. So I just do forwarding. I go GoDaddy, get the website, and then forward it over to the URL that the photographer gives me for the page. It's seamless. All the buyers have to do is plug that in, right there. So then I really start talking about, great, so you have your own individual page, but the real power behind the internet right now is Facebook. Facebook reaches more than 2 billion people every single month. 2 billion. So there's only 6 billion people, maybe 6.5 billion people in the entire world. So it's reaching almost 1/3 of the entire world. And it's actually going through a couple different things. We have our community page right here, which is we talked about the Keller Williams First Atlanta and how important we are because we're the number one agency in all of Atlanta for the last 7 years. Have my own page. The one thing we didn't cover too is my LinkedIn. I have almost 1,000 people in my LinkedIn network, and they tend to be, just because of my background, as we were talking about, Bill, high net worth individuals, that are in my LinkedIn, profile. So, they're going to have that. I'm going to share that with them. They're going to share it with other people in the area. But Facebook locally is one of the real key that I do to be able to target. I can actually target that ideal customer profile, that ICP that we talked about, being able to boost your listing, target it to reach the right influential people, the right buyers, and ultimately, be able to draw people, into the open houses and get into that multiple offer situation that we talked about. We talked about my website. Leverage that's SEO, search engine optimized. The listing is actually prominent on the front page, of my website, and we do a lot of SEO around your individual listing on my webpage to be able to drive people to that as well. That is my webpage. So one of the key items that I wanted to really share with you, and one of the key things that differentiates me, from other agents in the marketplace, and most people aren't aware of this, but 1 in 9 homes sold in Atlanta was sold to an international buyer. And you're in an executive home. We're in an area where there are a lot of executives because there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies here. So it only makes sense that we try to market your home to a much broader audience than just what's here in the United States. So we're going to get the U.S. and we're going to get to Canada with just almost what everybody else does. But with so many people buying homes from the international marketplace, we need to be able to reach them. That's why I personally, pay to be able to leverage part of Keller Williams. We call it a GPS, or Global Property Specialist. What it does is it allows me to take your listing and be able to convert it in language, to 100 different countries, 100 different languages in country. You can see the reach that it's given you, the number of agents, and I can tell you I've already had situations where agents from other parts of the country have called me and have referred clients to me. It works. It's real, and it's a key differentiator. And given your price point in your home, very likely, with all the the people that are moving into this area, that buyer could be international. So why only minimize the amount of marketing that you do to the U.S. and Canada instead of being able to have a much broader reach? Staging. So we talked about, the digital side. What do we need to do to get your house ready for sale? As we talked about, very little. But I still want my designer to come in, maybe meet with you and or your wife, be able to walk through to make it pristine and ready to go for the marketplace. It's really important, to be able to create that image of the type of home that we're looking for to match that ideal customer profile. And staging really sets the mood. And part of one of the more difficult parts, maybe it isn't for you or your wife, Bill, but it's sort of depersonalizing your home. Like being able to get it ready so that somebody else can see themselves in your home. So no longer is your home, it's a property. We want to have somebody else think of it as their home. And staging is one of those. Now, people think it's about, adding furniture. In most cases, it isn't, and in your home, it definitely isn't. It's just probably just maybe moving some piece of furniture around to maximize the square footage that you have, to make it more open and photograph very well. Because we already talked about the importance of the internet. So the photography and the video is what's gonna, sell the buyers who wanna come take a look at your home online. But let the statistics speak for themselves. Since I'm a high data guy, you're a data guy as well. So when the homes are staged done and they're staged properly, they will actually sell, typically days of market is 11 days. And that is really key. We want to maximize your price, but you have a timeline to be able to move up to the Charlotte area. Sells faster and sells for a higher price at staged home. Sorry, pricing. Okay, so we're just gonna do this real quick. You can forget staging, you can forget the videos. There's one thing you have to do right, that's to get a price right. We talked about it before. You get a price right, you're gonna get 99% of your list price, right? When we met the last time. But this is data that's undeniable. So even if we sold it at market, and we listed it at market, that's sold, we're still only gonna get, I think that's 60%, and it's a little harder on the screen. We're still only gonna get 60% of the potential buyers to see the house, okay? So we're still losing 40% of the market, even if it's priced right. But if we make a mistake where we're going 10% over that price of the house, so instead of 750, let's say we go 825 of that, we're gonna lose half the numbers. Now only 30% of the market's gonna be able to see our price. There is nothing we can do that would affect the overall ability to sell your home and getting your home priced right from the get-go. And if it's priced lower, we're only picking up a little bit, 10% lower. We're still picking up some more, but we don't want that to happen either, right? That's why you had me, when I came in before, and to do the due diligence in between our meetings, we have to come together. So getting it, priced right is really the key thing right from the get-go. And obviously, there's a lot of conversation around that, right? A lot of conversation. And why is that really important? The market really dictates it. The market is fickle. I call it the HGTV effect. If things aren't right, it's not ready to move in, and it's not priced right, and people have a short attention span, you lose them really quick. And this is data was shown. We have to make our biggest impact in that first 2 to 3 weeks. After that, we start to lose the attention of the agents, and more importantly, we lose the attention of the buyers. And because there's so much data online, the consumer is much more empowered than it was in the past. They lose interest really quick. If you've been out there 3 weeks, they're going to say, there's got to be something wrong with that house. Nobody's bought it. And you could have the most beautiful house, but the reason why it hasn't sold is because maybe it was priced a lot higher than others in the area, and nobody's paying attention to it. So getting it priced right is really important so that we get the attention, take advantage of that new to market. No, that was it. I didn't have any of the other ones. I figured we might have no time. So, any?
That's your second.
That's a second. Plus, I do have the print, because I have my print items, on there, as well. So I just focused on the digital, for this part of the presentation.
Are you going to break out the CMA if it's appropriate?
At the end, so after we go through that, pricing is the last thing I discuss. Okay, so because I didn't cover photography, the drones, doing that kind of thing. And if somebody has the right property, I do a drone. If they don't have the right property, I don't. Like if they're backing up to major road, that just doesn't show well. So pricing is the last thing that I cover, because they're already thinking about, oh my gosh, it's really important. So then I would say, Bill, let's talk about where I believe we should list your price, list your home. Then that's when I bring out the data, and I have it in a spreadsheet. So it's organized, so that we can actually look at the comps, look at the price, all the things that we did before, but much more accurate. And then there, I still give them a range, but now I'm probably about a $25,000 range, because these still could be a month, 6 weeks away from the market. I mean, a market can change, pretty quickly in that period of time. Pro or con.
So you said you still give, like say, this $750,000 house. After your second visit, you're still giving them a range?
Yeah, but before I maybe gave them this price point, gave them a 50,000 range. Now I'm down to less than a $25,000 range.
So what do you say when they come back and say, well, we expect you to give us a more definitive, closer range? what would you?
I
advise?
typically tell people 2 to 3 days before the market, I do another analysis because you could have other people putting their house on the market that could hurt or help us, right? So I just do another analysis, we come back, and that's when I say, Bill, we should list your house for $749,900.
Okay.
Because, I mean, 6 weeks, a lot could happen in that period of time. Maybe somebody sold a house, right, that's already listed, that really helps us. So maybe we can go above that. So that's why I give a small range, and then, explain that right before we go on the market, I do another analysis, and then tell you where I think we're gonna be. In all likelihood, I tell them, all likelihood, we're probably won't go below this. If we get fortunate, some of these other homes sold, we may be able to go above it.
What CMA tool do you like most?
I just use the data from FMLS.
Okay.
And then, again, as I said, I export it. I export a lot of data from there. I have it set up. One of the, I don't know what they call it, just one of the views with a lot of different data so that I can export it. And then a lot of times I just throw it away, but at least if it's in the spreadsheet, then it's available, then I can.
So you're going in and you're doing your own searches, you're not just using like the cloud CMA or anything?
No, I have the cloud CMA actually set up when leads, when leads come in, they get the cloud, they get three things. You get the cloud CMA, they get a letter from me, and then they get a text from me. All within 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. That's on the, on the buyer side. I have used the cloud CMA, and I've used the RPR, as well. So at the end of the day, they're looking at my price, and those are nice presentations. So, but I don't know. I mean, at that point, hopefully I got enough rapport, with them that they're gonna, trust the data that I'm giving them. So.
Have you run into situations where you do your first listing consultation and they would say, hey, this is year one and one time only, I've got 3 other realtors coming, what do you think the price range would be?
I would know that typically before the meeting. So,
Okay.
I tell, when I met with Bill, scheduled meeting, I already told him how I work. Now, he may say, you got one shot. That's one shot. Then I got one shot and I'm prepared.
Okay.
I wanna know that going into it, right?
Got it.
Nobody's ever done that to me though. If I told them that's what I do. So.
May I share a script? I used to do the 2-step, and I always told them that if somebody does one, you could be leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Because they don't know, they can't price your home unless they know what's in your home.
Right.
Since I haven't seen your home, I'm gonna come and do 2. And then I always felt like that gave me an advantage if somebody did 1, and I was the only one that did 2, that was a victory. But they'll tell you, if you have somebody that needs to have it done in 1, they'll tell you.
Okay.
If you ask.
I'm sorry, Miss, what was your purpose of telling them you do the second one?
Well, let's say all 3 of us, me, you, and Robert, were going on the same listing appointment. I would say I do 2. And the reason I do 2 is because I can't price your home until I know what you have.
Gotcha.
And if the other agents are doing 1, you can be leaving thousands of dollars on the table.
Got it.
At least creates that doubt there.
Yeah, that's good, John, actually.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We've got a. So if you give me your card or your email or something like that, then I'll go ahead and I'll include the other slides, that I didn't think we'd have enough time anyway to cover, here around the print aspect of what I do. Okay.
Scott, thanks for taking your time out. This is very
Yeah.
good.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, I'm gonna add a little note on mine. There we go.
Got it?
Thank you so much.
If you don't have it, you can.
How you say?
I'm just Scott at scottfinehomes.com.
Thank you very much.
There it is right there.
You can just say shy.
Shy?
It's shy.
Is it? Okay. When I say shy, I see the,
Oh, you see it.
yeah. That's actually smart, that's why my last name Einfeld, I can't incorporate my last name into anything, cause
Right,
it's too hard to
and I
spell.
know that
We're
was so
supposed to have
hard.
some connection with someone else in room.
Yeah, I did.
They never get it right, so shy.
Shy is easy.
Yes, thank you.
I like that. I like that. I read the article. I read it great.
Yeah, and what Google is, and it can be local too.
Right.
Bottom line is you don't almost ever get.
I do.
So to repopulate, school information.
Well, actually, once I set up the domain, what they're doing, they add to the photographer's my single page,
$300,000 house without that.
and then when I pay hours well,
I don't think I can get
get the data.
450, so
I do have to get it.
Yes.
Get 50,000.
Although,
Single property webpage. And then I tell them, that's why I wanted to look at the MLS. Cause I know how it has
Small adjustments, cosmetics, that's what the state.
the mail still would be political.
They might have already spent $10,000 to Grand County, so you know, they are still looking for it. So you know when they're going properly in the house. Hey, I think you did.
Thanks for
Very wonderful. I think that is just. Duly, Need to clean up the
So if you're behind the house.
Good. Sounds like fun.
What's your class this afternoon, Celia?
We have the agent leadership council meeting here. Thank you. I think that is all for today. Don't get me on work.
And looking at it, it's the windows on the left.
That's awesome.
I'm just away from my house.
Where's
How you doing?
Yeah.
It's in my car.
We going square or what?
I think you're gonna ask
We just
that.
square my circle to do there.
So, eight, that would be 16. We're gonna have 16 AOC members here.
Good seeing you.
Bye, baby.
No.
Jimmy's not, Kira's not,
Yeah.
Angie's not.
Carl's
Okay,
not.
perfect.
So,
Yeah, just your best.
right?
I'll go that way.
Let's go this way. No, we'll go this way. That way it'll be easier. Close it.
And aren't you gonna put the little boy? 4, 4, and 4.
Is that okay?
I think you were great. You be drunk as much as you want.
Yeah, I would prefer to. Just because that place is.
What are those new tables coming? We know.
Okay.
It's about time somebody put y'all to work, I tell you.
I know, it's always lollygagging around, aren't we?
John Fountain, question for you.
I don't care, as long as
I
they're
had
happy.
left a message for Amy, I don't remember her last name, who, is or was or whatever, a team leader at the Woodstock office
I do not take.
on 92.
Holt.
Holt, yeah. And, she and I talked, and I was gonna, present, had a very profit share tree there. And I sent 2 emails to her,
Yeah.
and I never heard any response. Do you know any?
I have her cell number. Want that?
Sure. Is she still team leader?
She is, as far as I know, she is. I know she just announced on Facebook that she's having a baby.
Oh,
I don't know if that's changed anything, but.
Okay.
See, and
So you got an extra chair?
Could you send that to me when you?
No.
I'll send it to you right now.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, I don't know, maybe Marshall's or a couple of years ago.
Yes, sir, get the chickens.
Yes.
Can I sit here?
One here.
Hey, back up.
Hey, how are you? Enjoy our chat.
You agreed with your mind, basically. Yeah. Why do people get it?
Was it sound good?
You know, whatever we have. Only because that's all.
You and I are so practical.
You're waiting on some beans.
Alright.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the other one better.
I'm losing. I cannot download the stuff. I can't get my listing.
It's phenomenal.
This looks so.
You just know how I am.
It does look good, right?
Oh my God. And this looks so good.
It's a great lunch today.
Oh no.
What's up, BB?
Not much, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you
We're
doing?
wearing the same colors today.
Rocking in the free world.
I was thinking today actually how I need to get. We need to do more in social media.
Hey, baby.
Hey, hey.
I just feel like you're my